Oh man! Hello, YouTubers and all those who happen to watch. Hope you're all doing quite well. So, alright. Got a couple pickups here. However, I'm also going to dive into a subject which I'm going to be kind of brief with. I'm not going to be going into it too long, but alright, let's bang out these games like a gong, shall we? That, of course, is the first game, Combat Cars, for the Sega Genesis. Hopefully you can assume that was a Sega Genesis cartridge. If not, it's a Vectrex cartridge. Don't be fooled. But think rock and roll racing, and think of a poor man's rock and roll racing, and there you go. I just practically summarized the game. It does have decent music to it. It isn't great, but after playing it for about like 15 to 20 minutes, I was kind of over it a little bit. I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm not heavily into these type of games, but I found it affordable, and that's why I snagged it. And it's one of those games where I think it's going to be collectible one of these days, where people say, well, technically everything's collectible. Like fungus, stamps, coins, skin. What? I didn't say nothing. But basically, yeah, it's one of those games where I think it's going to be worth something someday, and that's why I grabbed it. Because it has those qualities to it where it's niche, very niche. It's an alright game by standards, the control's a little bit too responsive, and that's a complaint. Well, yes and no. I mean, with a racing game, you expect the car to go fast when you put enough throttle into it. I mean, that's expected, right? But it's like sometimes the controls feel like they're not quite listening to you when you're moving around, so therefore you have to like fucking clutch it as hard as you can. But I mean, the drifting in the game isn't so good to me. I mean, I can't get into the drifting part where, at least trying to get into it, so it's not amazing in any standard whatsoever, but it probably would be something a lot of folks would enjoy. And I mean, again, it's just a really, the quality of it, at least the cartridge looks pretty nice. That's all I can generally say. The game itself is fine. It's just, it takes a lot of practice, I would assume, to get really good at the game, which most games it's required nowadays. But now, looking back at this game, and just like, holy shit, you know. So, next game I picked up, and one out of the two that I've picked up here, is Saints Row 4. I played Part 3 on the PC, loved it to death, really fun, over-the-top fucking game, and that's what I liked about it. It was Part 3 which just did not take itself seriously at all, and that's what made it enjoyable from start to finish. Most of the side quests and missions and all that were pretty enjoyable too. However, I heard a very disappointing thing about this said game. I heard it's like more of like an expansion than it is an actual sequel generally, because they're just trying to pump out an extra sequel to this game, or a game with a 4 and then below it just to sell another copy or two, or a couple million units, which, units, there we go. You can tell I'm a little sleepy. My words get all slurry. But, yeah, it's basically the setting is, I'm looking at the back of the box because I'm going to get my brain back on track here. And it's obviously based off, like you are president practically, and aliens invade. It's sort of like it's making fun of a couple of things here, such as Independence Day and just recent political issues here and there. But again, it doesn't take itself seriously at all. It takes that I don't give a fuck about myself level and throws it out the fucking window and says, screw it, we're just gonna go at it all at once. So, looking very forward to actually playing this. Hey, chewy! Pardon me. Leaving that in there, by the way. Chewy! So, there we go. I can't wait to make my character so that way I have big bouncy boobs and I can run around the fucking game like a madman. I might do some gameplay for this, I'm not so sure yet, because I do know there is some copyright music in this. But, again, the game looks and plays very fun, apparently is what I've been told. And I got this really cheap, so that's why reason why I purchased it. I'm treating it like it's an expansion game to the original Part 3. So, there you go. If you're into GTA games, you don't like games that don't take itself seriously at all, and you like boobies bouncing around everywhere, because, let me tell you, the third one, them boobs are huge. What? Then there you go. So, yeah. Those are the two games I picked up most recently. Past that is a bunch of digital games, but I don't think you really give a fuck about that, honestly, so I'll be playing some of those games I got recently via digital, but those are from the Humble Bundle, which I've been showing those off vaguely here and there, because, just showing some games here and there is not too bad, I think. Alright, So, a personality trait of mine is I'm introvert. Or a lot of folks here on YouTube, believe it or not, are actually introvert as well, and you don't realize it actually. And it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean people hate you or anything in particular because they're introvert. It just means that they just don't like heavy amounts of crowds. They don't like having too many people on them at once. It's kind of like going to a party and they only go to the party with their friends and only talk to their friends at the party. They don't mind their friends, they just don't want to meet anybody else because they just feel very uncomfortable. With me, it isn't necessarily I have a complete uncomfortable nature of meeting new people. It's just I don't like meeting too many new people at once because I forget fucking names like fucking water pouring down the sink. You know, it's just like bloop out my ear and it's already gone. I'm like, oh, what's your name again? So, again, I feel bad about that, but either way, it's just the fact that I don't like meeting too many new people too often. I mean, it's every once in a while when I meet somebody, it's a given. So, there you go. I mean, I'm more comfortable hanging around my room and playing a game, like, for my weekend than versus going out and getting pissed drunk for no fucking reason and just being a lollygagger at some bar. But, again, I don't have anything against anybody who does that shit personally, but for me, I just don't like doing it. I don't like drinking, I don't like smoking, so therefore going to a bar, to me, is just kind of silly. Me going to get a club soda at a soda when I can go to a soda, get a soda at a soda. Yo, dog, I heard you like soda, so I put a soda in your pop so you can drink your soda. I fucked that one up, too. Whew. So I could basically go to the store and get some soda, or get some of that pop, and come back to my room and drink it there. So, again, kind of silly to do so. I mean, if I'm only enjoying my own company, like I have some sort of magical inverted ego or something, even though I technically do not have an ego, period. I have no self-regard towards myself. So, whenever I look at a crowd, I kind of go, I just don't like hanging around there too long. And that's the other thing, too, about hanging in there too long is when it comes to going to places. I don't like going out to places too long. I like probably some people like spending hours going to the beach. I'd probably spend like 5 minutes, look at the sea, look at the sand, look at the people sitting there and go, okay, I'm going home. And that's basically it because I have already absorbed the atmosphere of my brain. So therefore I'm all set. You know, same with going to a mall. I like to go shopping. I like to go look at different stores. And that's, you know, I don't spend too long in stores, usually if the store doesn't interest me. But if the store intrigues me, I stay there for fucking hours. No, I'm kidding, at least like 10 minutes tops and I leave. But you get the point. It's like I don't like that kind of concept of having to sit there and for hours and talk about, you know, just ramble. I mean, most people don't. I mean, I don't mind shooting the shit with people I already know already, but it's just the fact that I hate small talk a lot. Like, I mean, most people who are introvert don't like small talk. Like, if it's something with meaning to it or meaningful conversation, they just dive right into it. You can get me going for an hour with that shit, but I don't like small talk. I mean, it's the same thing with people who don't like repeating themselves. It's sort of silly. Like, I cannot stand that when someone goes, huh, to me sometimes. I mean, I don't get pissed off. I'm just like, I go, whatever, this conversation's over, and just sort of walk away from it. But no, I'm kidding. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, I mean, it's just the fact overall, I don't really like to indulge too much in socializing with too many people. If I already get to know you, you're probably going to have a genuine friend on your hands where I'm just going to be all over your ass like white on rice. But when it comes to me being in a group of people, and how do you know you are actually introvert yourself? If any of these following things you just heard me say about myself, and you of course said, wait a minute, I'm kind of like that. That means you're introvert. It doesn't mean you have some sort of disease. It doesn't mean you're sick. It doesn't mean any of that shit. It just means you're just not a very sociable person. You don't care too much to be in a group of people. You prefer, if you are being sociable, in a smaller group of people you actually know, where you obviously adapted to. You know, with introvert people, it also takes a while for them to get attached to people or get used to people. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, it's an acquaintance, whatever, and they just walk off and go do whatever. Most people who are introvert probably enjoy drinking a beer at their own house. You know, they just don't give a fuck. They're just like, fuck it, I'm going to go buy a case of beer and go drink it myself at my house. And come hang around at my house and watch WrestleMania or something, you know? People like that. I mean, again, these people are not bad. I mean, again, nor is people who are extrovert, which means you're a person who likes to go out and party. You like to go out and do all kinds of crazy shit. But again, this is too much psychology 101 for you to muster at first. I'll slow it down. I'm teasing. But again, there's two different sides of the fence. Either you're an extrovert or an introvert. And of course, if you are a very eccentric person, likes to go out and do crazy things and go out and go rafting, canoeing, and all that, you're extrovert. You just enjoy life. Where people who are introvert enjoy life. It just means they just don't like doing too much at once because it becomes exhausting to them. Like, again, with me in conversations with groups of people, I get exhausted just trying to absorb everything at once. It's just like, oh, fucking hell. I mean, it doesn't mean these people are lazy. It just means psychology-wise or mentally, they're just like, okay, I'm spent. I'm going home. That's kind of how I am, and probably a few other people here on YouTube are just like that. I mean, it doesn't mean we're going to hate your guts because we want to go home or something. It just means we're over this shit. And it's respectably so. So, alright. Hope you enjoyed this conversational piece. Hope you don't mind me showing a couple games I picked up recently, just a couple I updated. You probably think yourself, okay, if you're an introvert, why are you recording a video and talking to a couple dozen people who watch your videos daily when you do upload a video? Well, here's the beautiful thing about it, right? Who the hell am I really talking to other than the people listening to my recordings who are listening and absorbing the information I'm saying and dispensing it back through font or texting or various ways of communication. I mean, past that, it's not exhausting to talk into a camera. That's why most people who are introvert are comfortable with doing that, by the way. They just like to express themselves, but they don't like to do it all at once with gazillions of people. Like, it's just like me being a conference speaker or a speaker in general, going in front of like 30,000 people. I'm like, oh, I'd be over that shit quick. I'm like, I'm done. Hi, how you guys doing? Suck my dicks later. That's it. And by the way, a side note, I ran out of some Lay's Stacks salt and vinegar. I just wanted to point that out, by the way. I just wanted you to know that I'm kind of disappointed because I was actually enjoying those, and then the plastic container was empty, and I was quite depressed, and there's only like crumbs left, and I can't eat. See, again, that's an example. Like, I can express myself, my disdain because I have lack of potato crisps in that can, or that plastic container of solid foods. But again, that's enough of me rambling. I hope you guys get the point, get the gist, saw these games, and okay, maybe I'll check out these games, or maybe you just said, okay, cool, that guy bought some fucking games, and he talked about introversion, whoopee shit. I don't know, either the case may be, but thank you all humbly for watching this video. Take care, touch my nipples, touch your own nipples, somebody touch somebody's nipples, and we'll gather around and gangbang like some sort of crazy gangbangers. I don't know. Take it easy.